Commander Sarah Chen stared at the debris field floating in the cold vacuum between Earth and Mars, her hands trembling as she read the final transmission log. The twisted metal fragments that had once been the alien vessel, Zephyr's Dream, drifted silently through space, carrying with them secrets that would haunt humanity for generations. "Ma'am," Lieutenant Torres called from the communications station, his voice barely above a whisper. "We've finished decrypting their language matrices. You're going to want to see this." Chen's stomach churned as she approached the console. 3 weeks ago, when Earth's deep space monitoring arrays had detected the massive ship approaching from the outer system, panic had swept through every government on the planet. The vessel was unlike anything in human archives, sleek, organic-looking, and clearly of non-terrestrial origin. Military commanders had mere hours to decide, wait and see what these visitors wanted, or strike first, while they still held the element of surprise. They chose to strike. The coordinated assault had been swift and devastating. Nuclear-tipped missiles launched from hidden bases on Luna, followed by kinetic bombardment from orbital platforms. The alien ship, caught completely off guard, had been obliterated in a brilliant flash of light, visible from Earth's surface. Humanity had celebrated. They had protected their world from invasion. Now, as Chen read the translated messages, she realized the magnitude of their mistake. The beings aboard the Zephyr's Dream called themselves the Keth Mori, and they had indeed come from a dying world. But their intentions were not conquest. They were refugees seeking passage to the outer planets, hoping to establish a small colony on one of Jupiter's moons. Their ship had been damaged during the long journey, forcing them to alter course toward the inner system for emergency repairs. They had been heading to Mars. Chen's eyes burned as she scrolled through the ship's logs. The Keth Mori had detected Earth's radio signals decades ago and had spent years learning human languages, preparing peaceful first contact protocols. They understood that humanity might be frightened by their arrival and had planned to announce their presence from a safe distance, offering technological exchange in return for temporary sanctuary while they repaired their vessel. "Commander," Torres said, his voice breaking. "There's more." They were carrying something else. The holographic display materialized above the console, showing the reconstructed interior of the alien ship. Chen gasped. In the ship's biochambers, they had discovered the remains of thousands of small pods nurseries containing Keth Mori young, who had been placed in suspended animation for the long journey. An entire generation lost. But that wasn't the worst part. The cultural archives they had recovered painted a picture of a peaceful species forced to flee their homeworld, not by war or environmental collapse, but by something far more terrifying. The Keth Mori had been hunted across space by another alien race, the Vashtai, a predatory species that had already consumed dozens of civilizations across the galaxy. The Keth Mori had been running from them for over a century. "Look at this," Torres whispered, pulling up another file. "Their star charts. The Vashtai have been following their trail. The Keth Mori were trying to lead them away from populated systems." Chen felt the blood drain from her face as she studied the trajectory data. The Vashtai fleet was massive, hundreds of ships, each one designed for conquest and consumption. And according to the Keth Mori's calculations, they were only 18 months behind. The refugees had been humanity's early warning system. Did they manage to transmit anything before we? Chen couldn't finish the sentence. Torres nodded grimly. "A distress beacon. Automated. It activated the moment we opened fire." He paused, checking his datapad. "Commander, the beacon wasn't just calling for help. It was warning the Vashtai that there was intelligent life in this system." The bridge fell silent, except for the soft hum of life support systems. Chen closed her eyes, trying to process the implications. Humanity had just announced their presence to a species of galactic predators. They had murdered the only beings in the universe who might have helped them survive what was coming. "What are our options?" she asked quietly. Dr. Reyes, the expedition's xenobiologist, looked up from her analysis station. "The Kethmori technology is incredibly advanced, but most of it was destroyed in the attack. We might be able to salvage enough to upgrade our defensive systems, but—" she shook her head. "It won't be enough. Not against what's coming." Chen turned to look out the observation window at the debris field. Somewhere in that expanding cloud of metal and organic matter were the dreams of an entire species, snuffed out by humanity's fear and paranoia. The irony was crushing. In trying to protect themselves from invasion, they had guaranteed their own destruction. "Begin salvage operations," she ordered. "Recover everything you can. Every piece of technology, every data core, every cultural artifact. We owe them that much." "And then?" Torres asked. Chen straightened her shoulders, drawing on reserves of strength she didn't know she possessed. "Then we prepare. We have 18 months to ready our species for war. We'll use their technology, learn from their mistakes, and we'll make sure their sacrifice wasn't completely in vain." As the recovery teams deployed toward the wreckage, Chen wondered if any Kethmori had survived long enough to understand what had happened. Had they forgiven humanity in their final moments, or had they died cursing the species they had tried to save? She would never know, but she would spend the rest of her life, however long that might be, trying to honor their memory. The stars watched silently as humanity began to gather the pieces of their first, and perhaps last, contact with another intelligent species. In the distance, invisible but inexorably approaching, the Vashtai fleet continued its ancient hunt. The real war was yet to come.